Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Secrets of a Witch podcast with me, Sabrina Scott. I hope everyone is doing amazing. If you're new here, this podcast is all about life, love, trauma, healing, positive mindset, personal transformation, witchcraft, magic, tarot, divination, feminine energy. What else? Some astrology themes as well, spiritual vibes, but grounded. So there's a lot going on since the last episode. We are almost at the end of the eclipse portal that happens on Saturday. I am pretty excited for that. I'm not going to talk about the eclipse in this episode, so stay tuned for the next episode where I will get into it in more detail than I'm going to do at the moment. The short version, and I mentioned this to my little love letter people over on Instagram, which is just this free little feed thing. So go subscribe to that if you haven't. It's super cute. But one of the things I want y'all to think about if you feel so called over the next few days is what can you work with this energy to achieve? Eclipses don't happen super often. They are more rare than some other type of things, and the vibes do tend to be full of potential and full of the potentiality for change. And so a lot of people think like, oh no, don't do magic around this time, don't set intentions around this time. You want to hide from the eclipse, don't let the eclipse energy touch you. And I really disagree with that. I think actually eclipses are when some of our most powerful magic can happen if we choose to embrace and really ride the waves of the energy that is going on right now. Personally, I would rather work with the crazy big energy than ignore it, not take advantage of it, not work with it, and sometimes even work against it, which is what a lot of people choose to do. It's very strange. So, some of you guys are probably going through some crazy stuff right now. I won't even get into the laundry list of stuff that I know that some of my students and clients are going through, and just my friends, everyone's going through something. And so, work with this energy though. Some of us are going to be having an easy time right now. Some of us are going to be having a hard time. Personally, I'm having a great time. I don't want to jinx it, but that first eclipse was in Virgo, my first house of self. So I'm Virgo rising, and what I've been doing with this energy is completely restructuring how I manage my time and going to the gym. I'm learning how to weightlift, which is insane. I can't even imagine. I'm telling you guys this right now. It's not something I ever thought I would ever do or be curious about. It's always something that's really intimidated me, but I've just decided I wandered into the gym and asked the guy to show me a machine. And so I want to share a little bit about my mindset with this. I think it might be useful. So I've always been intimidated by the gym. Okay. I've always been a yoga, Pilates type of girl. Go to the class, they tell you what to do, and then you leave. It's all very contained. But with the gym, it's so open-ended. It's like, what do you do? How do you do it? How do you not injure yourself? What machine do you use? How long do you stay? How do you, there's so many questions. It's like endless, like a whole different language. But I decided that my mission was going to be, okay, challenge myself, do something new, go to the gym, challenge myself to try a new machine I've never tried. So the first time I went, I did the Stairmaster and the treadmill. And the second time I went, I did both of those. And I brought my Pilates ball to do some arm work at the same time. And I also decided, okay, I'm not going to leave here without learning a new machine. And so I stood at the entryway, like I was almost going to give up and be like, oh, maybe I'll do it next time. But the staff member dude like caught my eye and as I was leaving, I was like, you know what? I am going to just ask. So I was like, hey, before I leave, I want to learn a machine. And so he taught me a machine, and it really wasn't that big of a fucking deal. And so this is a silly example. Like the next time I went, I decided to teach myself four different machines, which I did successfully. And I learned some of them from YouTube. And then the next time I went after that, which was yesterday, I was like, I want to learn one more machine. And so little by little, we can learn new things that have intimidated the hell out of us in the past. And it's completely okay to look dumb. It's completely okay to look like we're new at something. It's actually super courageous and brave and awesome to try new stuff. And I think it's great, like thinking about it in my own practice with what I actually know things about, like something like tarot or witchcraft. I'm never going to make fun of a newbie. Like, I would not do that. I might disagree with some of the people who are so-called experts in the field, and I might be a little bit sassy with those folks. But someone who is completely new and they're just putting themselves out there and they're just trying something, I would never make fun of them or talk shit. Um, you know, I just wouldn't, because what I think is like so awesome is that people are trying something new. Like, I would want to encourage those folks and big them up and just push them forward to keep learning and to give them a high five. And people at the gym are the same way, which I think is so great. Like, people who are actually good at stuff, if you're a total clueless newbie, like, they're not going to talk shit. They're going to want to help you. They're going to want to share their knowledge. They're going to want to explain. And so you guys might be thinking, Sabrina, I don't care about the gym. Why are you sharing this? My point of sharing this is a mindset. I think a lot of people forget that we are alive in order to live. We are alive in order to push ourselves. We are alive in order to grow and have new experiences. And this world is full of so many possibilities, so many options. If we're going to relate that to tarot, we would say the world is very Seven of Cups. There's so much to do. There's so much to learn. There's so many different directions and paths that we could take. And eclipse season, the eclipse portal that we're in, is inviting us to do that. A lot of us are too afraid to do it, and so we never do it. But if we embrace the eclipse energy, especially this eclipse portal right now, if we embrace this energy, if we ride this energy, it can help us zoom forward and make light years of progress. I'm not scientific enough in terms of space to know if that metaphor even makes sense, but let's pretend it does. It will help us catapult forward. It will help us create change. Something else I'm doing, I just wanted to share with you guys just for fun. Some of you guys might find this inspiring or interesting or something that you want to try. I've always struggled a little bit with how to manage my time. And actually, not so much. And when I was in undergrad, I managed my time kind of by force because I had so much going on. I was taking 6 classes. I was working as much as I possibly could as a model in order to pay to live, pay for rent, pay for food, all of that stuff. I was not receiving like family support. So I had to figure my shit out. Like, I'd moved out at 17 with no money and I had to figure it out. So I was working, I was taking 6 classes, I was performing, I was like doing all this stuff, right? I was doing art, I was illustrating, I was doing gallery shows. I was so busy. And I was also doing a ton of yoga and all that type of thing as well. I was so busy that I kind of didn't have time to think about how do I manage my time. I just had to get stuff done. And so now that my time is so much more unstructured, like I'm writing the PhD, I have a business. I don't really have anyone that I really need to be accountable to. There is no structure other than the structure I create. And that is something I've struggled with a little bit over the past few years, especially since I am a Sag sun, and that Sag is ruled by Jupiter, the biggest, most expansive, big thinking planet, and then my rising being Mercury, the most detail-oriented, tiny planet. It creates this interesting contrast of big picture thinking and tiny, detail-oriented thinking, and I love having both of those aspects within me, but it means that sometimes I'm like bopping between them, not really sure how to manage my time. So what I've decided to do in this eclipse portal, inspired by that Virgo in the first house of self, Virgo eclipse, I'm scheduling out my days and scheduling out my week dependent on what is the planet that rules each of the 7 days. So, for instance, easy example, Friday is when moving forward, I want to be scheduling my beauty treatments, getting my nails done, getting my hair done, whatever type of things, like getting lashes done, whatever. Anything that is beauty oriented. Also, if I want to make a trip to the art gallery or something, I'm going to do that on a Friday. Today, as I'm recording this, it is a Wednesday, ruled by Mercury. And so today I did two YouTube lives. Wednesday and Mercury reminds me of communication, social media, emails. I'm also going to be recording some podcast episodes today, like I'm doing right now. I am going to be scheduling emails, like stuff that's communication oriented. And I'm also going to be working on writing for a few hours in my PhD because Wednesday communication. And so this already feels really good to me. So I'm really excited to see how deep I can go with this, and I'm curious to see how this energetic flow is going to feel as I'm able to do it for an extended period of time. So I'm really excited for that as a way of organizing my time. It's something I would encourage my fellow witchy folks think about, and I'm sure many of you already have a set schedule, but for those of you who, like me, work for yourselves and have a lot of unstructured time, it is definitely something to think about. Okay, so that's part one. Part two. In this episode, what I want to talk about is the importance of curiosity. I believe that curiosity is one of the most important qualities in people. Integrity is my number one value in all things and in people and everything. But I would say curiosity is a really close second. And one of the things I've noticed online and just around and blah blah blah, politics, yada yada, all of this stuff. And I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of that right now because it's kind of beside the point. I notice that a lot of people have lost their relationship to curiosity. They think they already know. And I think this is a really dangerous way of thinking. I think it is a way that cuts us off. And it is also a form of thinking that we could say is a fixed mindset, which is in contrast to a growth or expansion oriented mindset. And so you guys might be wondering, like, why does this matter? Aren't there some things we should be fixed about? It's like, yes, of course. However, I do think that having an open mind, having a growth oriented mind, having a curious mind is incredibly important. None of us can know everything there is to know. And so it's important, I think, to be open to learning more, to be open to the possibility that we are wrong. And there are so many things I've changed my mind about once I got more information. And if we want to, I don't know, bring science into this, like that is kind of how the scientific method works. You have a hypothesis, and once things support, if you do experiments and they support your hypothesis, then you can say the hypothesis until this point is supported. We're experimenting. But a hypothesis, if we experiment and it doesn't go the way we think, that original line of thinking can be exposed as wrong or misguided or leaving something out or missing something, not seeing something. And when we put our heads in the sand, and just assume that we know everything relevant that there is to know, and that we will never benefit from asking questions. I believe there is a form of soul death that happens with that. And I know that's not exactly a popular opinion, but it does annoy me a bit. Um, and it's also just disappointing when I see a lot of folks who have stepped away from curiosity. Curiosity keeps us nimble. Curiosity keeps us interesting. Curiosity keeps us interested. And I know that there's only so many hours in the day. I've heard this type of critique from so many people, like, oh, Sabrina, I can't be curious. I'm too busy to be curious. I have to put that aside and just take this information that I read for 2 seconds in an Instagram created by, I don't know, a 15-year-old that this is correct. I just have to like bracket that and assume that that's true and move on with my life. And like, fair enough. But I don't think that's the great way to go. I do think curiosity is incredibly important. I do think curiosity keeps our brains moving in ways that enhance its plasticity. Our brains are always, at least I should be, always making new connections. When we challenge ourselves to learn and grow, our brains are moving with us. When we stop doing that, our brain can atrophy and just stop, and we can actually devolve in our thinking. And I don't think that's a great thing. As much as I know that there's so much that I don't know. And like I'm someone who's read like hundreds of books for my PhD. I spend a lot of my time reading, more so than probably most people. Definitely most people. Unless you're at the comps stage of a PhD, I'm probably reading more than people in general. And even then, I still know there's a lot that I don't know. And I do know that with more research, more information is evolving all the time. And I'm open to changing my mind if there is new information available. And that is just a mindset that I really do encourage folks to have. It also helps keep us positive oriented as opposed to negative oriented. And it really bugs me when people make assumptions on other people based on what they think they know, or based on an abstraction, or based on transforming someone into a symbol, or flattening somebody. I think it's really unfortunate. And if you encounter folks who are doing that to you, like what I would probably say as a piece of advice is just step away from the conversation because these folks are not interested in knowing you. These folks are not curious. If someone is not curious about you, why you think something, they are basically putting you on the defensive where you have to actually also be on the offensive and persuade them. But they've put you on your back foot because it's not everyone starting from zero on an equal playing field. It's like they are pushing you down, basically, and saying, I don't even believe you from the jump, so prove it. And that is really not how productive conversations, curious conversations happen. Like, that is not really how debates or arguments or discussions that are actually productive and curious or people are interested in growth. That's not how it happens. Those are just people who want to hear the sound of their own voice and to perform rightness or morality or whatever. But what's often more true is often a little bit more in the gray zone. Not always, but often. And so, an open mindset, being curious, knowing that we can always know more is just something I would encourage y'all to take with you. I think it will serve you in all areas of life. So if there is anything that you do feel closed off around, or that you think is just, fill in the blank of some kind of bad adjective, some kind of negative adjective, I would encourage you to be open to learn more. And maybe as you learn more, you're going to become even more set in how you feel. But learning more can never be a bad thing for us. I strongly believe that. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. How was that for a random contemplative episode? I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that was interesting for you guys. I would love to hear how you enjoy this episode and the podcast in general. Feel free to reach out. If you guys didn't know, also, my Toronto people, my first two books, Witchbody and Curse and Cure, are in the Toronto Public Library system. So you can check them out for $0. So please do that. I'm so excited about that. And if you are in Toronto, I'm going to be reading at a few women's events over the next month. So if you are local, please do reach out to me and I'll give you all the details for when and where that is happening. I think it's going to be super, super fun. For everyone who has supported the Kickstarter for my fourth book, Body Magic, first of all, thank you so much. Second of all, we're a little bit delayed. I did post an update to the Kickstarter. It is going to be sent off to the printer super soon and will probably be arriving sometime at the end of April, early May, depending on what is going on with my printer. I know he's pretty busy and everything is just crazy right now with the tariffs. So I'm not too sure what's going to be going on with that. For anyone who doesn't know, there's going to be tariffs between America and Canada, which is like a bit of a bummer. We'll see what happens with that and how it will impact the book because I am Canadian, but I am getting it printed in the States. So, to be determined, we will see. The other thing I wanted to throw out there is I would love to read tarot cards for you. So, do reach out to me if you have anything that you're going through where you think a tarot reading is exactly what you need to get yourself on track and grounded and rooted and with a clear action plan of what to do. And I'm also doing a lot of coaching and that type of thing right now. So a lot of this is life coaching infused with spiritual teaching, infused with spiritual mentorship and awareness of healthy relationships and healing from abuse and things like this. My disclaimer is I am not a certified anything. I am not psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, any accredited mental health professional. However, I do know some stuff and I've helped a lot of people. And if you think my unique blend of skills, spiritual teaching, tarot, divination, altar practice, working with ancestors, my own trauma healing journey, if you think all of this is useful and would be helpful in creating some kind of space for you to work through what you're working through right now and get you to where you want to go with a completely transformed life, I would absolutely love to hear from you. My website is sabrinamscott.com and I would love to chat. All right, y'all. Catch you on the flip side. Bye.